Hi everyone, I'm Donnie Lowy. I'm here at closeoutexplosion.com. Hope you're doing well. The next time you're in New York, you're welcome to visit my business. Today I'd like to discuss with you how to take your retail business onto eBay. eBay, as you know, is a tremendous platform to sell merchandise. Most people remember when eBay was simply an auction site, but as you might know, you can actually also use the buy it now feature, so you could set your price and sell it at a predetermined price if people decide to buy it. So there are ways to take your business onto eBay. Some of them could seem complicated, but I would recommend to start with a very simple approach. Instead of looking at things in a very large scale, start out with a few items. Look at merchandise that you have that you can take two approaches. Merchandise that you have that isn't selling, and try it out. So even if you don't get the best possible price, but you're still going to be happy because it wasn't selling. And the other approach is you could take some of your best merchandise, start by leading it, meaning put that merchandise on eBay, and then what's going to happen is people are going to see what you have, you're going to start developing a following, and then when you put your additional items on your eBay store or your eBay listings, there are going to be people who are going to check them out because you'll have drawn attention based on some of your best-selling items. I would recommend, before you spend a lot of money, hiring a professional photographer, today if you have a really good smartphone, just as I'm doing this video now with my smartphone, you could take pictures with your phone, make sure you have good lighting, make sure you have a nice background. It's very important, the background. You want to make sure that you have a professional looking background, or I should say it doesn't even have to be professional in the sense of a magazine, but professional in the sense of showing a non-cluttered environment, showing an environment that is conducive to people wanting to shop, because you can have a Guess handbag, and it can be an authentic Guess handbag, which you're selling at 80% below the original retail price. But if you take a picture of it on your couch, and your kids' toys are on that couch, and the couch looks like it's a mess, people are going to be they're not going to be that excited. But on the other hand, if you take that same Guess handbag and you put it, in a nice display, you put it in your store, even if you're doing it from your house, but you have a nice background, you put an extra nice painting on a shelf, you know what? You're going to get more attention, and it's just going to look better. So if you're going to start selling merchandise from your store, make sure that you don't take the picture, in your storage section of your store where everything is cluttered. If you're going to use your storage section, it's just fine, but make sure that you use a non-cluttered section of your storage section and that it's very well organized. Next, take the time to write a good headline and a good description. Number one, when people do searches, your eBay is going to show your listing based on the keywords that people search for and based on the keywords that are contained in your headline and your item description. At the same time, don't do what's called spamming. Don't stuff those keywords, because eBay will get upset and they could just take time at your listing, and they could potentially also close your account if people complain. So you don't want to do that. What you do want to do is you want a very accurate description. And what I would recommend, I try to write my emails the same way. Write your description, write your headline the same way that you would just speak to people in real life. If you have a beautiful R&M Richards dress, which is a really nice dress to go to a wedding, you could write that. Great R&M Richards evening dress for weddings. And then in the description, explain more detail what it is that you mean. Now, the advantage of that is that you're going to find people who are specifically looking for the item based on your description. The challenge, of course, is that the more of a concise description is, the more you're going to limit yourself, you're going to limit your audience. Meaning, if you write beautiful R&M Richards dress, anyone who just searches for an R&M Richards dress might find your dress. If you, on the other hand, let's say you write beautiful dress for wedding guests, people are only going to see that listing if they're looking for a dress and they typed in that they're looking for a dress because they're a guest at a wedding, or they typed in, guest dress for a wedding guest, and so on. But the advantage is, if you're very, very focused, even though you might get less traffic, but two things could happen. Number one, the people who do find your listing are going to be that much more interested because it matches exactly what you're searching for. And number two, you're also guiding people. You're giving people a very good idea and a reasonable idea as to how they could use your merchandise and how they could benefit from your merchandise. Now, when you sell on eBay, here's another thing. Don't race to the bottom, meaning don't sell your merchandise at the lowest possible price just because you see other people selling the same or similar type of merchandise at a low price. And the reason is, first of all, someone might or might not buy their merchandise for any reason. Meaning, let's say you have let's say use an example of a Guess handbag, and let's say you want to sell it, or you paid for it $45 and you want to sell it for $80, but you see someone else selling it for $75. You might be tempted to sell it for $75 or to sell it for less, but they might not buy it from them. Why? Because their feedback rating might not be that great, or people, they see they're a new seller and they're not comfortable, or the pictures are not that great. But it lets you take a much better picture. Maybe in addition to a better picture, your specific Guess handbag, even if it's the same style, is in better condition. Maybe you have a better feedback rating. Maybe you charge less shipping than the other seller does. So you need to take everything into account. So don't sell your merchandise at a very low price just because there's competition out there. Another thing you should do is monitor your sales. You could see how many people have viewed your listings and decide based on that if you do need to change your price, and if you need to maybe take better pictures, put in a better description, and also based on the questions that people are going to ask you, because you could submit questions to the sellers. So based on those questions, you're going to be able to see what it is that you need to, I should say, improve. I mean, everyone, including myself in our businesses, we always need to find ways to improve. So you'll be able to get feedback. You see if you need better pictures, maybe a better description, maybe you need to charge. Sometimes you even need to charge more. I know it sounds, odd to say that, but if your prices are too low, the perceived value goes down. If your prices are high, but at the same time fair and reasonable, people will realize that you're selling something of quality and something of value. All right, hope you enjoyed this video. My website is closeoutexplosion.com, and I did want to mention that if you do need to, you can always hire someone to do the selling for you, or you can even go to an eBay drop-off location and give them your merchandise. But I think it's worthwhile to try to learn the business first, and then if you're overwhelmed, it's too much work for you, then you can find someone to sell the merchandise for you. All right, my website is closeoutexplosion.com. Thank you so much for watching. Have an amazing day.